Forgot to change the chat settings. Hang on 1 second, boys. There we go. Boom. Should be working now. Let's see the new chats come in. Test, test, test. Test, test. There it is. All right, boys. I'll be right back. We're going to get started here in just a minute. Stay frosty and head over to EasyMut.com for the cheapest MUT coins on the market. And when I say cheapest, I mean it. We're talking 1 million coins for around 40 bucks. Use code DIRECTOR for 5% off. Action! Yo, what up, brothers? What's up? It's the Director. We got some chat shout-outs to do here real quick, guys. We got Jason A., new member to the channel. Thank you so much, my friend. Jeff Coggin. We got Derpy Noob. Lucas Ramirez. We got J.A. Fan. Lucas J. Munoz. Christopher Sr. Heritex. William Escobar. What's going on, everybody? Good to see you. You guys ready to talk some draft? Type 1 in the chat if you guys are ready to talk some draft, the earliest draft talk of the channel. I'm getting pretty ready, guys. I think it's time to start doing some mock drafts and stuff like that. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. It's cool. At Jason A, I gotta say, it's really cool seeing the little logo and then the custom emotes next to your name right there, my friend. Really cool. Darren B's in here, member of the chat too, or member of the channel. Thank you guys so much. Let's get into this, man. I'm super excited to go over some of the new draft prospects. Guys, get in your heads, get ready about the questions you want to talk about the draft and stuff like that. I'll admit fully right now, I'm not in the know when it comes to college prospects as much as other people. I'm not like a draft expert, but by the time the draft happens, you can call me a draft expert as good as anybody else you'll find on YouTube, because I do so much research between now and April. It's ridiculous. Jorge de Diego's, what's up, man? Mr. Top Cookie, how's it going, everybody? Let me go ahead and check something here real quick. Then we'll get going into some of our draft stuff, guys. Draft topics. It should be a good one today. Nice and short stream, but important questions asked. Good company along with it. Should be fun. I think we should get definitely get Patrick Surtain. Okay, we'll definitely go over Patrick Surtain, all these other guys as well as we get going. Before we do get started, guys, because I got some stuff up here ready to show off. Let me see if I can turn my camera back on here. Just 1 second. There we go. We do have some graphics and stuff to show you guys. The Chargers projected pick 5 right now and stuff like that. Before we do get into it, though, I do want to mention a couple of things. For one, if you guys have been watching my videos, you know that I'm giving away a jersey, okay? A signed Derwin James jersey. You guys want to see it real quick? You guys want to see the jersey real quick? Okay, calm down. I'll go ahead and show you guys the jersey. Hang on. Here it is, boys. This sucker here, wherever I can put it. in the chat is up for grabs. We got a number 33 powder blue signed and authenticated Derwin James jersey. Jay Muniz says, what size? Don't wear the thing. Put it up on the wall. Like I did with my Tomlinson jersey. A nice display piece for any man cave. Honestly, guys, it's pretty hot. I'm pretty excited. If you guys are wondering how to enter the giveaway for that, it's very simple. Just make sure that you're subscribed to the channel. And then there's a little link. It should be in the description of this video. It'll take you to a little website that looks kind of like this. Very, very simple. All you got to do is follow the instructions here. Just make sure that you are subscribed to the YouTube channel. That's all I asked. And then each one of these are worth one entry. Let's see how many entries we have so far. Actually, we're up to 730 entries, so make sure you guys get in there, try and pick up a brand new signed Derwin James jersey. Then the other thing I wanted to add to this, I don't even have the graphic all set up. That's a huge fail. Let's see if we go here and we go here. There it is. All right. We have officially launched the Join My Crew campaign. Boom, there it is. Matter of fact, we'll make it a little bit bigger here. You guys will notice some people in the chat right now, they've got themselves a little logo of my logo next to their names. They got access to custom emotes and stuff like that. As well, at the end of the stream, we're going to have a little members-only question seminar to get your guys' words in. Should be a lot of fun. If you guys want to join the crew, definitely hit up that join button. It's there next to this video, and it should be on my channel page as well. So good stuff, guys. Good times. Let's get into it, man. Let's get into talking draft. Let's get into talking some prospects. Let's get talking to what the Chargers could be doing this upcoming April, because there's a lot that could go down, man. The Chargers having a top 5 draft pick. I mean, if you look at the history of the Chargers as far as how we've used top 5 draft picks in the past, I think one of them's in the Hall of Fame. The other 2 are on their way. Really, really good track record for the Bolts in the top 5. However, the Bolts might not even be drafting in the top 5 this year, because there is a scenario where we probably trade down. All right, man. Real says, turn on your mic. I hope you guys are hearing me. Let me know if you guys are hearing me. Everything's looking okay. Says you think I'm on mute. Okay, hang on. Hold on. Can you guys hear me in there? Did we accidentally hit a mute button that I don't know about? Oh, you're hilarious. All right, dudes, let's get into this. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Trackthon here. NFL draft order. Pick number 5, the Chargers. So what's really important to pay attention to here is the teams that are drafting in front of us. We got the New York Jets, the Jacksonville Jaguars, Cincinnati Bengals, Dallas Cowboys, and then us, the LA Chargers. Okay? Now, what's really important in this year, more than any other year, is the fact that there could be 4 quarterbacks drafted in the top 10. I'm not even kidding. Okay, so as far as Chargers draft prospects, who do we really want? We want Penei Sewell. We'll take a look here at the draft prospects here on the NFL Draft Network. Penei Sewell is ranked number 2 in talent as far as the prospects coming into this season. Hate that it kind of cuts it off here. You guys can't quite see it, but you should be able to see his name right here, Penei Sewell. Okay, there's a huge chance that this season, this upcoming draft, the Cincinnati Bengals to take Penei Sewell. And we really, really don't want that to happen. But I also want to offer an alternative, okay? What if at the 3 spot, okay, the Cincinnati Bengals just get an offer that they cannot refuse? Somebody wants to trade up and get Zach Wilson, yeah? There's a chance that they trade out of that position and a quarterback falls, or a quarterback gets reached for at the number 3 spot. Same thing could be talked about with number 4 spot. You never know. So Penei Sewell is still on the table for the Chargers at number 5. If we get Penei Sewell at number 5, we don't trade down. There's a lot of people that want to get all that extra draft capital and stuff like that. I don't think any of us can complain. We got the draft prospect of the future. He played with Justin Herbert in Oregon. Very, very good scenario for the Chargers. Okay, now I'm going to start taking a look at some of the questions here. You guys get your questions ready and stuff. I'll be answering them sporadically through the stream. Okay, there's a lot of draft questions that we could be asking, a lot of scenarios that could be going down. We're really just kind of getting our feet wet today. Okay, we're just trying to figure out where our mindset is at as a Chargers, fan base, what we're thinking we want to see happen. Let me know. Let's take a look at some of these questions here real quick. So I kind of give you guys a little sneak peek of how it's going to might go down in the top 5. We'll go through that in a little more detail here in a second. Jason says, dang, Sewell is younger than me. I feel the same way, my dude. Real says, Director, what do you think of not paying Henry and drafting Kyle Pitts? That's a good question. Okay, we'll go off on that here for just 1 second. Kyle Pitts looks awesome. All right, I think some people say he reminds them of an Evan Ingram, but better. Plays like wide receiver at the tight end position. I still think that our draft capital could be used better in the top 5. I think there's some players that really stand out talent-wise. I think we definitely should be paying Hunter Henry to stay with the team and use that draft pick for something else. But that's just my opinion. All right. Everyone says, get those likes up, get those likes up. Okay, dudes. We're kind of just riffing here. I'm trying to figure out like the new format. You guys will notice that the chat looks a little bit different. People got little logos next to their name being part of the membership. They got, custom emotes and stuff like that. We're trying to figure out the functionality of the stream in that way. So let's actually go over here real quick. And I'll be answering questions as we keep going along, so you guys keep posting those in there. Showtime Leo says, actually, that's a good one. Hang on. Showtime Leo says, a strong possibility we don't get Sewell. The Chargers should trade back and get Liam from Notre Dame. They like to go to that school, draft day, acquire multiple picks. Okay, we'll go over that in just a second, my man. Definitely looking at what we could get if we decide to trade back in the draft. This year, more than any, could be absolutely insane. Oh, this is the first time I'm saying this too, guys. Hang on. We got welcome to the crew, Corlac. Thank you so much, my friend. Corlac joining the crew. One of these days I got to get like an animation or something to pop up with that. It's different the way they do it on YouTube rather than Twitch. But thank you so much, man. Give him some love in the chat to Corlac. Let's go, man. He says yeet. Thank you so much, brother, for the support. All right, taking a look at some of the top draft prospects here. Trevor Lawrence, definitely going to be going to the New York Jets. Okay, we got Penei Sewell, probably going to the Cincinnati Bengals. We got Justin Fields, most likely going to the Jacksonville Jaguars, as we see a lot of Corlacs in the chat. Y'all make me happy. Lots of support right there. So that leaves the Chargers with a couple of really good options here. Some people, what do you guys think of Micah Parsons here, man? This guy's an absolute stud. Any team that he goes to is going to get a huge upgrade to linebacker. The only issue is that the Chargers don't really have a need at linebacker at the moment. Kind of insane, right? If we get Micah Parsons, how stacked would we be at linebacker? Is it just having too much of a good thing? Maybe, I don't know. It's just something to think about. The Chargers, if anything, have options at number 5. Matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and move this a little bit so you guys can see some of the descriptions of these players too. Okay. At the number 5 spot projected, if we were to get the 5th talented player on the or in the draft this year, it'd probably be Ja'Marr Chase. Right, Ja'Marr Chase, he's a great prospect. I wish they still did like the comparisons here. That's the best way to get across a lot of information in very few words. Ja'Marr Chase, if I were to compare him to any player in the league, a lot of people are saying like Julio Jones, tall, fast target, good route runner, really good hands. That would be pretty crazy, right? So Ja'Marr Chase, if we were to choose at the 5 spot, and if all these guys came, in order of their he's like a Dez, says Jason A. Yes, if they were to be drafted in order of their talent, Ja'Marr Chase would be going to the Chargers. Okay. Mike Farnsworth, member of the channel, says, if we pick Chase, do we cut Williams? That's a good point to bring up right there. Now, Mike Williams, he's definitely one of those guys that people don't understand that he's actually extended already. I think I still get a lot of questions of people saying, do we extend him? Do we pick up his 5th-year option? I'm pretty sure the Chargers already picked up their his 5th-year option. But what Mike Farnsworth is saying is that there is a possibility that the Chargers cut him and save some cap space. That is still a possibility for the Bolts. Okay, so if we do pick up a guy like Ja'Marr Chase, is it absolutely possible that we cut Mike Williams? I really hope we don't. He definitely fits the archetype of Justin Herbert really well. They're really like building a lot of chemistry out there. But Mike Williams still does have like injury concerns. He hasn't quite, developed into the prospect that we were all hoping to see. I don't know, man. You just never know. You never know. I mean, if we do cut him and we do pick up Ja'Marr Chase, that's cool. But I think having more at that position, having 2 outside guys in Mike Williams and Ja'Marr Chase would be very important too. We have got a super chat coming in from Fernando Iraberin. Says, what about letting Henry go and picking up Pitts? Yeah, we kind of went over that just a moment ago. I still think that using that 5 spot on a tight end is probably a reach. It's probably a big reach unless we do trade back. If we trade back, I can probably see us getting Pitts. The problem is the draft is going to be very unpredictable this year because of how many quarterbacks could be reached for in the top 10 picks. So the Chargers realistically are not going to know where they're picking maybe until draft day because there's a big chance that we trade back. So if we let go of Hunter Henry and we don't have like a draft position where we don't reach for Michael Pitts, like if we decide to pick him up at 5, it's a super reach. If we decide to pick him up at 12 or 13, maybe that's all right. It's probably a little bit too risky, but it's a good question, my man. Thank you. Jason A says Mike Williams going to turn into Megatron if we cut him. Isn't that the dang truth, man? Every time a player leaves this team, like Jason Verrett, it seems like they have their second, emergence in the NFL, even though they had a lot of struggles with the Chargers. I don't know what that says about our team, but it is what it is. All right. Imagine we pick a QB. Nah, not going to happen. Okay, so I do want to talk a little bit about the most likely scenario for the Chargers. I was going to wait on this, but I think a lot of people are bringing it up. I think it's time to start talking about it, okay? The LA Chargers at pick number 5. The LA Chargers at this point, we're going to have a couple of options here, right? The Chargers' needs is most likely, like at the top of our list, is going to be offensive tackle. We can go offensive tackle here, but it's going to be one of these lesser guys. We go back to these draft prospects. Offensive lineman after Penei Sewell, who's right here at number 2, is going to be Chris Darrisaw right here, number 15. That's the next talented in the list here in the draft network at number 15. So if we were to draft him at 5, that's a massive reach. Not going to happen. Too much talent you're passing up on there. The next guy after that, Jalen Mayfield, offensive tackle, Michigan. We got Samuel Cosme here, who's one of my favorites actually out of Texas at the number 24 spot. This is kind of one of those guys that I would definitely target maybe between picks 21 and 26 if we decide to fall that far. I still think, Penei Sewell is definitely the best option, but if we trade down and we picked up a guy like Samuel Cosme, I am absolutely okay with that. That's one of our biggest needs, left tackle. He's 6'7", great prospect coming out of Texas. I really like it, man. That's definitely pretty good. So what would happen if the Chargers trade down? Let's say we're here at 5. Let's say the draft goes as such. New York Jets, they take Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, Penei Sewell. Dallas, let's say they take Parsons, linebacker. I don't know what they're really looking for there. Maybe we'll do a little mock draft here in a second. And then the Chargers. The Chargers are going to have a lot of shoppers here, man, because the Dallas Cowboys, Cincinnati Bengals, let's say they both don't go quarterback. Neither one of them should. They got Joe Burrow. They got Dak Prescott there, right? So the Chargers at number 5, we could be the spot that people are looking to trade up for to get a new quarterback. And that quarterback is probably going to be Zach Wilson. We can fully expect there to be at least 4 quarterbacks drafted in the top 10 this season, just like there were last season. It was Joe Burrow, Tua Tagovailoa, Justin Herbert. And I think there was 3 in the top 10 this year. I think there's going to be 4 in the top 10 this year. Okay, so who do we want to trade with if we decide to trade away this pick from the LA Chargers at number 5? Who really needs a new quarterback? There's a couple of teams, honestly. The Philadelphia Eagles, they could probably sit there knowing we're not going to take a quarterback. Maybe they want to get rid of Wentz. I don't think they do. Their cap situation doesn't really, it's not very appropriate to be replacing Wentz at this time. Carolina Panthers, they probably want to ride out with Teddy Bridgewater a little bit longer. I think the most obvious guy here is the Atlanta Falcons. Okay, the Atlanta Falcons, Denver Broncos are definitely in contention, and Washington Football Team. I think these 3 teams are the most likely that could trade up. It doesn't mean that they're the only ones that could be traded up. Okay, Detroit Lions. I still like Matt Stafford a lot, but I'm hearing a lot of talk from Lions fans that they're ready to move on. Chicago could definitely trade up. They've had a lot of woes with Trubisky these last few years. You never know what they're going to try to do. San Francisco could maybe trade up. New England could definitely trade up. Just think of any quarterback needy team. Anybody could trade up. But my most likely scenarios here are probably going to be Atlanta, Denver, Washington, and possibly Chicago, and possibly New England. I think those are my top guys there. How much would it cost to trade up even from the 8 spot to the 5 spot? Chad, I'm asking you a question here. I want you guys to answer it in the comment section. How much do you think it would cost to move up 3 spots? From 8 to 5. 1, 2, 3 spots. Yeah. It would cost an arm and a leg, but I want to know what you guys are saying in the chat. Okay? If the Chargers were to move from 5 to 8, how much would it cost the Atlanta Falcons? I've heard a ton of rumors that if this does happen, it could cost the Atlanta Falcons an arm and a leg. This is a kind of position that the Chargers are in this year. We hold a lot of power at the 5 spot. If we were to trade away the number 5 pick, and if it's to go pick up a quarterback, that's our leverage right there. If there's a team that really wants Zach Wilson, he's still on the board. We're at the 5 spot. The Eagles could pick him up. The Carolina Panthers can pick him up. That's called leverage. The Chargers would have so much leverage at the 5 spot if somebody really wants Zach Wilson, who a lot of people are saying is a top 5 talent. So I'm going to start reading some of these comments here, guys. The High Ground says a 1st, a 2nd, and a 3rd. I think that could even be a little low, man. Far, Far Away says a 2nd and a 3rd. Ride the Guy says a 2nd and a 3rd. Jordan says a lot of ones and a fourth. Jawin says 1, 1, and 2. Christian Red says 1, 2, and 4. All very good guesses. And honestly, it's really tough. Like there's a number, there's like a numeral value on these picks, right? There are picks that definitely have more value than they would normally. A numeral value on the number 5 pick, I think it's somewhere in like the 2, 3, 4,000. I don't remember what the numeral values are. I'll brush back up on that here in a little while. But when it comes to having a quarterback available at the number 5 spot, that value just goes way, way up. So I'll take a stab in the dark here, man. And I'll come back to your question here in a second, Matthew Dahl. I'll say that the Atlanta Falcons would definitely have to give their number 8 spot, their 2nd and 3rd round pick, and I think there was even talk of them giving up like a 2nd or 3rd the next season as well. It takes a lot to trade up into the top 5. It takes even more if there's a quarterback there. But again, this is just me spitballing. I haven't really, looked into the draft and this stuff. This is kind of my first time. Kind of wanted to talk with you guys. There's a lot of good draft minds out there. Put our heads together. That's what's going to happen. We're going to get some good results. Okay? That's what I'm thinking, man. If the Chargers trade back from that spot and we pick up, obviously their 1st round pick, we'll have 2 2nd round picks, 2 3rd round picks, and then an additional 2nd round pick next year. I don't know, man. That puts us in a really good position to really build around Justin Herbert this season. Sure, we're going to be passing on talents, of these top prospects here. Let's see who would be looking at. Jamar Chase, Micah Parsons, Gregory Rousseau, Patrick Surtain, Caleb Farley, which I think we could still get him at the number 8 spot. This is kind of where our new prospects kind of live. Patrick Surtain, Caleb Farley, Kyle Pitts, which is kind of in the conversation now, Jalen Waddle, Devonta Smith, and Kwity Paye, who I think a lot of people want. At that point, this is kind of like the area that we would live in if we traded down with the Atlanta Falcons. Okay? Really quickly, I'm going to go back over to Matthew Dahl's question. He says, so do you, the Chargers, keep Lynn because he's going to make $7 million next year? No, he's gone after this year. I think most of us are absolutely positive that he doesn't stay after this year. Your question. So at the 8 spot, if we traded with the Atlanta Falcons, Caleb Farley, Kyle Pitts, this is where I think that Kyle Pitts question comes in mind, okay? If the Chargers know ahead of time, which they probably will not, that we're trading down with the Atlanta Falcons, then it's probably, not a crazy thing to think of him not re-signing Hunter Henry, because Kyle Pitts is probably on their radar. Kind of interesting. But even if we do have Hunter Henry or don't have Hunter Henry, would we draft Kyle Pitts over guys like Caleb Farley, over guys like Patrick Surtain, who could definitely still be there, over Jalen Waddle, guys, this is a great draft prospect as well, coming out of Alabama. Very fast, playmaker, get the ball into his hands, he makes all the magic happen kind of guy. It's interesting to think about. Devonta Smith looks pretty good too, but we would probably go with Waddle in that instance. Kwity Paye, a lot of guys super high on Kwity Paye out of Michigan. This guy could be pretty insane too, man. If the Chargers are looking to replace that edge vacancy left by Melvin Ingram and we trade down to the 8th spot, I wouldn't be mad if we picked up Kwity Paye. At the 8th spot, here's who I would want. Any one of these guys, if they fall, we pick them up, which is there's a good chance of that because now quarterbacks like Zach Wilson, they'll go from the number 13 spot here all the way up to the number 5 spot here. So this pushes all these names down. So the Chargers realistically trade down. We could still get Patrick Surtain. Huge. We could still get Gregory Rousseau. Huge. If we decide to go Caleb Farley, Kwity Paye, still pretty huge. And we get extra, like 2nd, 3rd round picks and maybe more draft capital the next year. Crazy. This is why when you guys start seeing some of my draft videos coming out really soon, you're going to see a lot of scenarios of me trading down. Because it's such like muddy water. We don't know who we're going to be trading down with. We don't know what draft position we're going to have after that time. We're not going to really know this until draft day. So that's where I'm hoping my videos come in to help the Chargers fans a little bit. No matter what happens draft day. Let's say, yeah, we do trade down with the Atlanta Falcons. Well, now you guys kind of have an idea of which players that at least I was looking at that I think would be good draft prospects at that position and what the Chargers should be doing with that pick. Obviously, if people fall, you take the best guy, Patrick Surtain, Gregory Rousseau. There's some really good talent if they do fall, which they will if quarterbacks are being reached for. But let's say we trade with somebody else and we're down here like the 14 spot or something. Who are we looking for then? That's why I want to pump out as many videos as possible, because if we do trade down, who knows where we'll end up. I want to cover as much ground as possible with these draft videos. Going to start taking some questions here, man. Ride the Guy says, I like trading down for Jalen Waddle or Kyle Pitts. Yeah, add some offensive weapons for Justin Herbert. You can never go wrong with that, really. Blaze Romney says it would be foolish to take anything but a corner, linebacker, offensive tackle. That's also a really good point. Some players or some teams, some fans could say, maybe trade with the right partner so you can get your offensive lineman and you're not reaching. In this case, you want to trade down all the way into like the middle of the rounds. Christian Darrisaw here, offensive tackle, Virginia Tech. You're going to want to trade with somewhere in that area, so you're not reaching too far for Christian, but you're still getting your offensive lineman because he's probably the biggest position of need. Again, my favorite guy after Penei Sewell as far as like value, I really like Samuel Cosmi here. I like it, but you never know. Oh, I'm seeing some comments here actually giving the numero value. This is what I was talking about before. The High Ground says the number 5 pick is worth $1,700. That's the value. Thank you, High Ground. And then, guys, the value in the top 5 is huge. Like, you go down it further into the first round, it gets down into like the hundreds. You know what I mean? So this value is already high, but because people want to go after quarterback, it's even higher. DC says, who's on the trade block if it comes to it? I'll be doing a video on that here really soon, guy. Stay frosty. Corlac says, since we all know Lynn is cheeks, who would you want our head coach to be? Like, realistically, who could help us get where we need to be? I've done a lot of videos regarding the draft, actually, or not the draft, the head coaches possibilities for the Chargers. I think the consensus favorites right now are definitely, Bill Belichick. If that could actually happen, I think everybody would absolutely lose their minds. But more realistically, I think Robert Saleh is definitely in contention. Saleh is like a huge defensive mind in the NFL. San Francisco 49ers changed that culture out there in San Francisco. There's plenty of other names as well. I think Brian Schottenheimer, people are really high on. There's some guys at a college that people are really high on. So definitely check out that video. I'll do more. As soon as we get news of Anthony Lynn, I'll definitely be doing a refresher and kind of taking a look at the playing field now that maybe other coaches have been hired. There's been talks and stuff like that. Guys like Urban Myers, I mentioned him in my video a while back. I wouldn't mention him now because he just came out and said that he doesn't want to coach anymore. Sucks, but now that option's off the table. Jason says Robert Saleh. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That would be a pretty good hire in my opinion, man. I'm not gonna lie. What about the North Dakota coach? I don't know, man. I really have to do my research. As soon as we get closer to the dates where we're actually looking to fire Anthony Lynn, maybe it does make the headlines, maybe day 1 of the offseason. I'll do all the research. I'll put the video out. We'll make sure you guys are in the know. Okay? No Josh McDaniels. So the Chargers right now are connected to Josh McDaniels, which is kind of concerning. He wasn't on my short list. I mean, he could be good, but at the same time, it is. But he still could be good. I don't know. You can't write him off quite yet. All right. So let's do something fun here real quick, guys. We're about half an hour into the stream. I'm not going to make it the longest stream in the world. And I still do want to open it up for members only to give me questions and stuff like that. Out of Notre Dame, excuse me. Yeah, Notre Dame. We'll get into that here in a little bit. I do want to do a little mock draft here. Now, it's kind of nervous into doing a mock draft right now because, I don't know all the prospects as well as I should. I have a lot of research to do. I promise you by April, I'll know all of these guys. I'll know all the guys that we need to be targeting. Even if we trade down, I'll probably know the entire first round by heart, second round, third round by heart, because you never know what we can get draft capital wise if we do trade down. So maybe we do a little mock draft here, guys, just in the first round, just kind of getting our beaks wet, see what the Chargers want to do. Let's say we stay at this pick. It's the easiest thing to do right now. Stay at the pick at number 5, see how the draft board falls, just kind of see how things are looking at the current draft spot for the Chargers at number 5. Okay, we'll do manual, we'll do pick number 1. Let's go ahead and start this thing. Okay, it's been a while since I've used this website. Okay, Trevor Lawrence goes number 1, followed by Penei Sewell by the Jacksonville Jaguars. That's not going to happen. Then Justin Fields. So what I can realistically see happening here, though, is that the same players are available to us. Justin Fields would be going to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Then Penei Sewell to the Bengals. And then Patrick Surtain, I can say he would probably get drafted by the Dallas Cowboys. Okay? Sometimes this thing can be a little bit funky, guys. All right. Why do you want to get rid of this? Because I'm in the middle of a stream. Thank you, sir. All right. So right now the Chargers looking at Micah Parsons, Jamar Chase, Gregory Rousseau, Kwity Paye, Caleb Farley, Jalen Waddle. And let's say we don't trade down. In this scenario, what do the Chargers need to do? if we're not going to trade down for whatever reason, all of these prospects in front of us who I think was like worth it. I think Patrick Surtain was one of those guys that I really wanted at that pick. Who do we go with, chat? What do you think, chat? Micah Parsons, Ja'Marr Chase is probably the guy for me. Gregory Rousseau. If we don't, address the defensive end position, if you guys aren't really confident in moving Jerry Tillery to defensive end or Uchenna Nwosu developing defensive end, who do you guys want to go with? Let me know, chat. We still have Kwity Paye. We got Caleb Farley, Jalen Waddles, Kyle Pitts. But in this instance, we're not going to trade down. I think I need to pick up like the Prime membership or something like that. I'll do that before we get into our next mock draft so we can trade down. Corlac says Chase. Mike Farnsworth says Chase. We got a lot of Chases in here, a lot of Farleys. I think as far as draft, like as far as picking the best talent possible, it would be Micah Parsons, but I think the Chargers are just too stacked at linebacker right now. So we're going to go Ja'Marr Chase, okay, wide receiver. How do you guys feel? I know this is a mock draft, but how do you guys feel if we went Ja'Marr Chase? If draft day came around and they bring up the card to the pulpit and it's Ja'Marr Chase, what are the emotions? That's why I'm doing this. What are the emotions if we get Ja'Marr Chase? Are people, crap, we should have traded down? I mean, you can't trade down in this instance right now, but because it was just an experiment. Are people like, oh, man, we really wasted an opportunity to get more picks? Are people like, heck yeah, man, we got Ja'Marr Chase. We got the next Julio Jones. We got the next Dez Bryant. Are people like, oh, we should have gone Caleb Farley. We should have reached for an offensive tackle. What are you guys thinking? Christian says, no, we don't need weapons. There's no need. Jeff says we need a cornerback more than a receiver. DC says Waddle unfortunately won't be our guy. We'll probably be out for the most next year with injury. You never know. Blake Robertson says, I wouldn't be mad. I think if we did that, we would have signed an offensive line or corner in free agency. So many variables, guys. Guys saying we need a corner. There's bigger needs. Okay. I think this experiment was successful. All right. We put you guys through the meat grinder here. Live on stream. I wanted to see, just the thought of the reality of Ja'Marr Chase being the next Los Angeles Chargers, how you guys would respond. And funny enough, I'm seeing more people upset at the thought of Ja'Marr Chase being the selection for the Chargers. Realistically, guys, it could happen. If the Chargers don't trade down and those names are selected in front of us, my personal preference would be Patrick Surtain if we decide to stay put, or Gregory Rousseau, who is still there, but I still think that as far as talent is concerned, the chat was concerned, it was Ja'Marr Chase. But we got a lot of people. We got a lot of people a little, irked. Like, we don't go a wide receiver. We don't need it as much as other positions. Interesting. Do another little experiment here, guys. Go ahead and start this mock draft. I'm going to see, is there a way for me to do trade downs, to do trade scenarios here? I have to get the premium one, right? I'll do that before my next stream so that we can get into that a little more detail. Number 1, start draft. Okay. Let me see if I can trade real quick. So we're here. Traded. Trade. Exclusive for premium. Okay. So yeah, I'll get that set up before the next draft or mock draft so we can start trading down because that's probably the most likely scenario in my mind. A lot of people. Dodgers fan says we need Trevor Lawrence. Luckily, we don't because that would be a pretty big scenario for a lot of folks. Sorry, I'm checking something here real quick, guys. We need an offensive lineman. Okay, so now that we know what it looks like when we take Ja'Marr Chase at number 5, all of the positions and stuff that we turned our back on, for lack of a better term, this is why I think Chargers fans, let's take a look at the prospects here one more time. Chargers fans should probably start rallying to trade back. It's really tough. It's tough to think of, not getting a guy like Micah Parsons or Penei Sewell, or Patrick Surtain. A lot of people have their minds made up before the draft. This is the guy who they want. And I'm guilty of that too. Last season, if you guys are watching my channel, I really wanted Tua Tagovailoa. I really did. For obvious reasons, right? And it turns out we got the better quarterback anyway, all as well. But I really wanted Tua. Really, really bad. In retrospect, we got the better end of the deal. That's why I think having an open mind, even myself, I did so much research in the draft. I did lots and lots of mock drafts. I held one of the biggest mock drafts on YouTube with a whole bunch of Madden YouTubers. I still had my heart set on Tua. I'm trying to open myself up, open up my perspective a little bit so that if something happens at number 5 and we do take Ja'Marr Chase, I already know how Chargers fans are going to respond. How do I need to respond? Okay, he must really be the next Dez Bryant. Okay, he must really be the next Julio Jones, because they gave up a lot to pick him up. Mike Farnsworth says, do a draft with 2 rounds to see if a good cornerback or OT falls to the second round. I'll be doing more rounds in the future. We have so many opportunities to do mock drafts. Guys, between now and April, you guys might see like 20, 30 mock drafts on my channel. Not even kidding. We'll have plenty more opportunities to do that. Keep your guys' notification bells on and stuff like that, because I might just feel like spontaneous. Like, hey, let's jump on a chat and do a live mock draft, see how people are feeling. Let's let a lot of guys do it, in the chat as far as like picking the picks and stuff like that. Let's let the chat do it. Interesting. Some guy says we need a speedy wide receiver. Some guys like Jalen Waddle more than that, but there is injury concern. Interesting. So as for me, guys, I mean, this is a very simple little experiment I wanted to get on here and do with you guys today. Very simple experiment. What do you guys think? The Chargers at number 5, Ja'Marr Chase, Gregory Rousseau, Micah Parsons. There's some options there. I want you guys to start asking yourselves the question, who do you want the trade down partner to be, and what would the price tag be? Keep in mind, it's not going to be your normal trade up to number 5 because of how many quarterbacks are in this draft. Where do we want to end up? For me, I would say between 8 and 15. At this spot here, I would feel good about taking Christian Darrisaw, about even taking Samuel Cosmi. It might be a little bit of a reach in the middle round, but I still like him a lot. We would definitely be addressing a position of need. Who do we trade down with if we want to really get down here? I think he's going to climb the board, this Cosmi guy. I think Darrisaw is pretty good too. But if we trade down here to like number 20, between number 20 and number 24, which is where I think he's going to get drafted, we would be needing to look at guys like this: Minnesota, Tampa Bay, Miami, Indianapolis, stuff like that. It's very interesting. All of this is super interesting, guys. We're just getting the motor going in your heads. Who are you hoping to get? What would we have to do? Who would we have to trade down with? What's the kind of price tag we would need to have? All of this stuff. It's really just kind of a preview of videos to come. The price tag of the number 5 pick will probably be a video. Potential draft trade down partners for the Chargers in 2021. Probably another video. What kind of haul could we get as far as capital and stuff? That would probably be another video. Very interesting. Very interesting. A couple of questions in the chat, guys, and we're going to start winding down here. This is just a very small preview of things to come, man. I do want to do my first draft video next week. Maybe not a mock draft, but really start going over prospects and different, values of our pick and stuff like that, because it's coming. I normally really rev this kind of video content up, after the Super Bowl, but I want to start introducing people to it slowly as the final couple of weeks in the regular season wind down. Harry Bucket says, hello from New Zealand. Kia ora. Trade up for Sewell is another big one, guys. Another big question. Okay, so a couple of questions from the general chat here real quick, guys. Then I'm going to turn it on just for the members only chat. Okay, so members only chat, guys, get your questions ready in your heads. I'm going to be switching to that here in a minute, but general chat, I'm going to pick a couple of questions out of the lot, put them in the chat right now, and we'll answer a couple of them. Raptor says, trade up for Sewell. We need an offensive line. If we trade up to the 3 spot, it will likely cost us the same amount as it would cost another team to trade up into the top 5. It would cause, quarterbacks to fall. So maybe the price tag wouldn't be as high. It's not for a quarterback and everybody knows it, but you never know. So it's really tough to think about trading up for Penei Sewell. I think the more likely scenario is that somebody trades with the Bengals to get Zach Wilson, and then Sewell drops to us, which is definitely a scenario I see that could definitely happen. Zach Delis says, would you pick Chase and trade Williams? Also a really good point. If the Chargers pick up Ja'Marr Chase, Chargers fans 50-50 on the idea. Yeah, I mean, let's go ahead with him at the 5 spot, but we don't need him. We need other weapons. What if that does open an opportunity for the Chargers to trade Mike Williams? What could we get back for Mike Williams? I mean, off the top of my head, just spitballing here, I would say a 2nd or 3rd round pick for Mike Williams, probably in the next draft. It's tough to say. It's tough to say, let's let go of a guy that kind of fits our system. He really fits Justin Herbert. It's tough. I don't know. More research and thought required. Blake Robertson says, if we get a ton of picks and fell to spot number 10, would you trade back again if one of the top 4 quarterbacks is still available? Can you guys imagine that? Who can you imagine that? we trade down twice and just pick up so many picks? Yes, absolutely. If there's a team that wants to trade back and like, let's say somebody trades up to get Zach Wilson and then another guy wants to trade up with us to get Trey Lance, that would be the ultimate scenario for the Chargers to get a lot of draft capital. We got a super chat coming in from Nathan Rivera that says trading back could be more valuable than taking Sewell. Potentially being able to get 3 quality players is better than getting 1 great player in my eyes. That's a great freaking point, man. If the Chargers, let's say, into the second round we go. I mean, I don't know how many guys I have here, so it would be number 32 and down. Okay? So let's say the Chargers have multiple picks in the second round. Who are offensive linemen that we could definitely get there? I like Rashawn Slater a lot. We could definitely get him in the second round. Liam Eichenberg, not bad. Who's other offensive? Dylan Rendunes. Like, there's a lot of guys in the second round, guys. Tons of Josh Myers, Trey Smith, interior offensive linemen that we would need as well. If we have 3 second-round picks, that'd be crazy. If we had 2 second-round picks, that's still really, really good. We could definitely go, at the top. Let's say we don't get Penei Sewell, but let's say we trade down to like the 10 spot, like he was saying, and let's say we get Kwity Paye, right? Would you guys be happy if we got Kwity Paye, and then on top of that, we also got Slater at number 30 something in the top 5 here? Let's say we get Slater up here, somewhere right there, or let's say we get Liam Eichenberg, or we get Josh Myers, and then on top of that, we also get another offensive lineman in Alex Leatherwood. So instead of Penei Sewell, we get Alex Leatherwood, we get Josh Myers. Is that right? Yeah, and we get Kwity Paye. Is that something you guys would be excited about? It's interesting. It's a really good question, man. Thank you so much for the super chat. And that's just spitballing, guys. We would know, like, we would know more precisely who we could target, in these rounds and in these areas once we know who we're trading down with and how many picks we would have in those rounds. There's some teams that have multiple second-round picks that might give them both to us, so we'd have 3 second-round picks to move up into that spot. It's that valuable this year. Robert says always take the better player. Yeah, but he might not be available to us is the biggest problem there. And we have such a huge need at offensive line, it might be the best move. You never know. But again, this is all very situational. Okay? It'll have so much more breakdown as the year goes on. Sewell is what we need. Yeah, again, but we have no idea if we'll be able to get him. The trade-up price would be way too steep. The only way I see that we get him is if the Bengals trade down, which they could. From the number 3 spot, someone wants with Zach Wilson really, really bad. Let's say the Falcons trade up to number 3, they get Zach Wilson. Dallas Cowboys, maybe they take Penei Sewell, maybe they don't. That's probably the Chargers' best scenario at getting Penei Sewell is him to fall to 5, which is still kind of a stretch. That's just me. Biggest need after O-line is cornerback. Do you agree, Director? Yes, I do. Yes, that's why Patrick Surtain, if we sit at number 5, he's my pick. If a lot of the guys are gone that I think are going to be gone, it's Patrick Surtain for me. Caleb Farley would be pretty good too. Couple more questions before we go into the members-only chat, guys. Joe Alexander with the super chat says, did you hear about the Star Wars stuff that dropped? Sorry, off topic. Yes. I found out about it right before I went live, so I procrastinated the stream just for like 30 minutes. I can go watch everything, like absorb it. I was so excited. Thank you, my man. May the force be with you. Really cool to see other Star Wars fans in the chat, too. Yeah, super excited. Xavier says Patrick Surtain is the number 1 corner. Yes. So if we're at the 5 spot and we're going to stay there, that's why I want him. He's great. He's going to be really, really good. I know we're talking Chargers, but do you think the Cowboys could trade up for Trevor? Okay, that message was deleted right as I was reading it. Michael says first round O-line, second round corner. It could be flipped, man, depending on our draft position. If we stick around, we probably need to go corner here, best position or best talent available. And then in the second round, at number 5, they're not going to show it here, but the 5th pick of the second round, we could definitely go offensive lineman there. Which, you guys, I know he's not going to be Penei Sewell. I get that he's not going to be as good. But when you think about how bad the Chargers' offensive line is, a second round pick like Alex Leatherwood could be way better than like a Sam Tevi. Like, way better. How good of a line does Justin Herbert need to succeed? I don't think he needs like the 2016 Cowboys line, but he needs a better line than he has now. It's all very situational. Like I keep saying over and over, very situational. The Chargers need upgrades at offensive line. I think a couple second-round picks could really help us on the left side. Even though they are rookies, I think they could be an improvement. Nate says, will you be willing to trade down for a corner in late round and 2 O-linemen in the second round? Yeah. So if we trade down to like the 8th spot or something like that, and we still get like Caleb Farley, and then you're saying getting 2 O-linemen in the second round, absolutely. I would be super happy with that. Again, the Chargers could legitimately use like 4 out of their 7 picks on offensive linemen and I would be okay with that. I realistically think they're going to use 2 or 3. The Chargers aren't known for drafting a lot of offensive linemen. I would say 3 if I was a betting man. But still, we need to help this line out. It's time to build. And there's guys that aren't in the first round that could definitely help us out. We've seen a lot of talent in the middle rounds when it comes to offensive linemen help their teams out. And you know why that is? It's because college doesn't really build their offensive line like they used to. It's really tough to get them ready for the NFL nowadays. So that's why there's always so few offensive linemen where people look at him, they're like, yeah, that's a first round pick. We need Penei Sewell, best, offensive lineman prospect in the last decade, because he stands out that much. Outside of that, you don't really know, man. Outside of that, it's really kind of a crapshoot. You really never know. The only Chinese Chargers fan is back, baby. The pair with the ping pong ball. Thank you so much, man. He says, thanks for being you. Didn't even ask a question. Just wanted to show love with the sticker. Hey, only Chinese Chargers fan. Thank you so much, my friend. Thank you so much for the love, dude. This guy dropped like 250 bombs in the last stream. Incredible. You rock, my friend. Thank you so much. A couple more questions, guys, and then we're opening it up for the members only chat. Can we offer Gus Bradley for additional picks? I would offer Gus Bradley for a ham sandwich and a glass of milk. Carterman says, what do you think of Derwin James? Too injury prone. What could we get for him? I'm not of the opinion that we should trade away Derwin James because of how big of an impact he is to our defense. Like I say all the time, sometimes you need to roll the dice, right? And he's the kind of player that you roll the dice for. You go ahead and, see if he can come back, be healthy. He's worth the risk there. If the Chargers were to trade him away, the only example I have for you right now is Jamal Adams. Matter of fact, that's kind of a fun topic here. Jamal Adams trade. Let's see what they gave up for him. If we were to trade Derwin James away, this is what it would cost. Likely. Jets disgruntled defense star, whatever. And he was disgruntled too, so keep that in mind. They wanted a lot. They got a lot. Let's see. Seahawks in exchange for safety Bradley McDougald, who was pretty good, a first round and third round pick in 21 and a 2022 first round pick. All of these, right? It took all of that to get Jamal Adams. So I wouldn't be shocked if it was around the same. Guys, Brandon Burt, welcome to the crew, my friend. Just joined the crew. Thank you so much, my friend. Very excited to get into the members only chat here in a minute. Thank you so much for your support, brother. Guys, give some love to Brandon in the chat down there, man. Appreciate you for joining the crew. Very cool. Okay, one more question from the general chat, guys, and then we're going to go to the members only here for a little bit, and then we got to wind down. Murray Lett says, how do we join your crew? Real quickly, guys, I won't count as the question. I just want to make sure you guys know if you do want to join what to do here. Okay, so you can do one of a couple of things. You can go to my channel here, and you won't see this customized channel manager video stuff. That's just for creators. You'll see a little join button right there next to your subscribe button. That's where you can join, or I think it's on the chat too. You should see it underneath. There's a little join button underneath all of my videos next to where it says director. If you want to join the crew, that is how you do it. Okay. Derpy Noob says, what can we get from trading Ingram or Hayward? Now, Ingram wasn't re-signed by the Chargers. He would be a walk-away kind of guy for the Chargers this year. We don't re-sign him. That's where I'm leaning towards this year. I think he's probably done with the Bolts. Casey Hayward, however, if we were to trade him away after a down year, we would probably get the lesser, value for him. Like if he was worth, let's say, a second-round pick last year, he'd probably be worth like a third or fourth this year. That's kind of what I'm thinking. Some guys are thinking maybe trade away Chris Harris Jr. too. A lot of guys are saying clean house at the defensive back other than Derwin James and rebuild. Because we got rid of Desmond King, it's really kind of a rebuild scenario for the defensive back core, which is kind of sad. And if we did trade away Chris Harris Jr., you're still probably talking like a third or fourth round pick because he's a little bit older. Same thing with Chris Harris or Casey Hayward Jr., in my opinion. Okay, last question here. Kelly Weber says, is Eckler a franchise back or do we need to move on? No, Eckler's fine. Eckler, definitely, we have him for 4 years. If we decide to pick up another guy that's like our power back, he's definitely like one of those difference maker in receiving backs for the past couple of years. So definitely want to make sure you keep him. Crazy Jack Director, we went from Jack Boys to rebuild. Yeah, we did. All right, guys, so this is the first time I'm ever doing this. Everybody that's a member in the chat, stand by. I'm going to try and turn on members-only chat here for just a second. I used to think it was this little this little tab here, but it's not. I think I got to go to these settings. So members, get ready to post your questions. I'm going to answer a few of your member questions as well. And then we're going to wrap up this stream here in a second. Okay, we'll go back to the general chat before we end up too, okay? But I want to give the members a shot to get their questions in. Okay? So we'll come back to you guys in the general chat here in a second. So I think I go edit here. I go live chat. Only channel members send messages. I think that's it. Okay. Members only mode is on. This is cool. We got it to work out. Things are looking good. All right. Okay. So members of the chat, give me your questions here really quickly. Okay. Give me a couple of questions. We got tests going on. Mike Farnsworth, it is working. Everybody with a little white logo next to your name, you are eligible to give me some questions right now. We're going to pick up a few questions from the members only and then move into a couple more questions in the general chat before we do close out. So if you guys are, in the general chat, don't go away yet. I'm going to come back and answer a couple more questions. Jason A., new member says, what do you think of Gods of Thunder as the new Jack Boys? Oh, that's awesome. Like, it's so awesome. I might Photoshop a banner or something and put it on Twitter, starting a campaign. I feel like we can start at least one trend. If this channel can start at least one trend, I would be super happy, man. Gods of Thunder. And we make that the new Jack Boys, and I could Photoshop in like all of the new Chargers defensive backs. But they got to earn their stripes first, man. Got to make sure they play somewhat as good as the old Jack Boys did. That's great, man. SL Echo says, yo, what up, director? Glad I could make it. Well, Echo, we are in the section right now for members only. We're in the members only chat mode here for a moment. We're going to go back to the general chat here in a minute, but members, send in your questions now. This is your opportunity to get your questions answered in the members only chat. This is a perk of joining the crew, okay? Jason says we need to have a better season. Yeah. Corlac says, we have talked about what we could get, but I'd like to know what's the worst case scenario for the draft. Like, I feel like anything can't be worse than what we saw with the Patriots. Okay. So we're all feeling the sting of losing to the Patriots, right? It sucks. Yes, the sting is still there. It burns. As far as the draft, you're saying, what's the worst case scenario in the draft? It's hard to think of a worst case scenario because of how high we are in the draft order, right? In the pecking order, Chargers at number 5. There's a lot of really good talent even now, right? So at number 5, worst case scenario for me, maybe we pick up Micah Parsons, and that's a great worst case scenario, right? Like, I don't think we need Micah Parsons. Jamar Chase, some guys think we don't need Jamar Chase. That's their worst case scenario at the number 5 spot, right? I think the worst case scenario is that we trade out of the 5 spot and we come down here, let's say, to the number 8 spot, right? I think worst case scenario for me, now that I'm thinking about it a little bit more, is that we pass on a guy like Patrick Surtain, maybe even Kyle Pitts or Jalen Waddle or even Kwity Paye, and we reach for a guy. Like, I love Samuel Cosme, but if we reach 14 spots or 16 spots or whatever to pick up an offensive tackle because he's such a position of need, and we could have got him if we traded down with a different partner, or we could trade down twice, you never know. That's my worst case scenario, is that we reach. That's definitely my worst case scenario. Echo says, do you think we need Jamar Chase? Because honestly, I'd be fine with Gregory Rousseau or Patrick Surtain. Yeah, we kind of talked about that earlier in the stream. We did a small mock draft in which we did pick up Jamar Chase, and the chat was kind of 50-50 on it. They were like, we don't need him, we need different positions. And then other guys are like, okay, good, he can be the next Dez Bryant, he can be the next Julio Jones, because you never know. Jason A. member says, am I the only one who thinks Tevy isn't that bad? I was thinking we pick up Wyatt Davis, interior offensive lineman, to help with our run game. I still think that Sam Tevy was that bad. He was definitely better at left tackle than he was last year, but he was still that bad in my opinion. Definitely. Brendan Burt says, okay, let's say Dallas passes on Micah Parsons. Dolphins head coach is in love with him, and Miami trades us Houston's pick and are both our seconds. Okay, I have to just read it a little bit slower. Who do we take at those picks? So you're talking about here. You're talking about the Miami team here. They have the Houston's pick, right? So you're talking about them trading up with the Chargers to get this guy, Micah Parsons, right? So if we have Miami's pick at number 9, they would likely give us another one of their picks that they got. They have 2 first-round picks, right? They would likely give us number 22 as well. Sorry, I forgot to change the thing here. So we have Miami's pick here, and we have Miami's pick here. They could trade 2 first-round picks and maybe a third to move up. I like that scenario. So they get up to get Micah Parsons, you said? Not bad. I'll have to read that again, man, but I see where your head is at. Dallas passes on Micah Parsons. Dolphins is in love with them, so they trade up with us at number 5 to get Parsons. Then we have the number 9 and possibly the number 22 pick, right? Is that what they have here too? Number 22, yeah. I mean, it could be interesting. And number 22, you're talking about guys like the guys that I want. Samuel Cosme right here. You know what I mean? Wyatt Davis, interior offensive lineman right there. I like that. I like the thought of getting 2 first-round picks like last year. That could definitely be pretty cool. We got a brand new guy in here, the Raging Bolts. Welcome to the squad, guys. Everybody in the chat, give him some love. Raging Bolts, welcome to the crew. Brandon Burr says, sorry, I'm typing with my son on one hand, phone in the other. No problem, man. I think sometimes I just got to read things a little bit slower. Raging Bolts, thank you so much for joining the crew, man. All right, everybody else in the chat, stand by. We're going to go back to general chat here in just a second. Pick up a couple more questions and then wind this stream down, guys. We're gonna try and get out of here after an hour. Raging Bolts says, I've been seeing a lot of mock drafts. Kyle Pitts going to the Chargers. Okay, all right. So Kyle Pitts, man, I'll be looking at some of his tape. Okay, I know he's really good. Kyle Pitts is kind of looked at as a wide receiver at the tight end position. He is those kind of guys that if he were to go to the Chargers, he would probably be really, really good because all of a sudden Justin Herbert has himself a wide receiver playing tight end, which is really nice. So let's go here to Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts, 6'5" tight end, 239 pounds. What's his projected 40 time? It's somewhere in like the 4.4s, right? He'd be very, very, very fast. Very tall, great hands. I mean, you can't be mad at the pick if we decide to go tight end and it's Michael Pitts. But we have to trade down. If we go Michael Pitts, my one condition is that we traded out of the 5 spot. We landed somewhere at the 8, 9, or 10 spot, and Kyle Pitts was there, and we decided to pick him up. Even if we have Hunter Henry, you know, we can bring back some of the old days that we saw, you know, dual tight ends. You know, those formations where we saw 2 tight ends that were receiving. Like with the Chargers, Hunter Henry and Antonio Gates back in the day. Or Rob Gronkowski and Aaron Hernandez. We saw that a lot in the past, and I think we could see it again if the Chargers decide to go Kyle Pitts. They want to develop him a little bit. Maybe we still do have Hunter Henry. If we let go of Hunter Henry and we're sitting there at the number 8 pick or the number 9 pick or whatever, and Kyle Pitts is there, then yeah, you really have to consider him. He's that kind of talent. But that's very interesting. So Kyle Pitts is similar to Darren Waller. That would be sick to have. Yeah, Kyle Pitts is, I would say he's kind of a taller Evan Ingram, but better. He's like what we thought Evan Ingram would be if he panned out, and he's huge. That's what I see him as, at least. I don't know how well he does in pass and run blocking, but he's definitely at, you know, projected number 9 for a reason. He's climbing boards even today. Okay. Bert says, we can't lose Henry. He plays all aspects of the game. He's one of the few tight ends that can run block. Okay, I will say that his run blocking and his pass blocking has come down a little bit in efficiency, but I still think what's equally as important is that we give Hunter, or we give Justin Herbert some consistency, right? And what could be more consistent than a top 10 tight end that you played with last year that really helps you ease into your second season in the NFL, right? That's why I think it's super important to keep Henry. He's a top 10 talent. It's really hard to maintain top 10 tight end talent, and he's serving a rookie quarterback who next year is especially going to need him. Yeah. Still love Herbert, though. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I still miss Rivers, still love Herbert. I feel you. I'm just glad Hunter Henry was able to stay on the field so far this season. Knock on wood. Yes, sir. I'll echo. Yes, sir. All right, general chat, here we come. Stand by, general chat. I'm going to pick up a couple more questions from general chat. Everybody that's part of the members only, thank you so much for joining the members program. Thank you for joining my crew. It's so awesome to see all the little white symbols next to your guys' names. I'm very honored to have you guys joining my crew and being a part of that culture there, man. I really, really appreciate it. Last question actually here. Jason A, if the Chargers and Colts, Rivers made the AFC Finals, who should you want to win? Chargers no matter what. I love Phillip Rivers, but now, you know, Chargers no matter what. I'm still rooting for Phillip Rivers as he goes into the playoffs with the Colts here soon. Bert says, thank you for the content. You're welcome, my man. All right, live chat. We are going back to everybody. Type 1 in the chat if you are not a member, and you can now type in the chat. Members only has been turned off. We can get everybody back in here one more time for a couple more questions. Okay? In this video, we talked a lot about draft prospects. We talked a lot about trading down, draft position. There we go. I'm seeing a lot of ones in the chat, so there's the general chat is back on. Okay? Last couple of questions, guys. I have a lot of research to do. I'm going to be reading up on every draft prospect in the top 3 rounds, probably next week. I'm planning on doing my first draft video probably next week as well. So we got a lot of stuff to look forward to as far as the draft. All of this is very early. We're going to get a ton more content between February and April, but it's very exciting. Even though the Chargers had a disappointing season, a top 5 pick is something to get very excited about. A couple questions from the general chat here. What do you think the Chargers record will be next year? Very tough to say. I will tell you this. My earliest take on that is usually around May. Maybe right after the draft, we'll do another early take on it. It's just really, it has a lot to do with who we pick up in the free agency in the offseason, who we draft, and more especially to me, who's going to be our head coach in 2021. If we get Bill, I'm projecting 14-2. If we get Robert Saleh, I'm projecting like 10-6. If we get Matt Patricia, probably 6-8 or something like that. I don't know. 6 wins, 6-10. It really depends. A lot of factors in there. It's my opinion that Melvin Ingram is gone. How do we replace him? I mentioned this a little bit before, but the Chargers, in my opinion, will probably go in-house. Okay? We got Jerry Tillery playing defensive tackle, who's been playing a lot of defensive end these last few weeks. That's kind of an experiment right now to see what we do when Melvin Ingram's gone. We've got Uchenna Nwosu, who's looking really good at defensive end, plays linebacker most of the part for us, but he looks really good. He could be the defensive end of the future. Or they can go in the draft and pick up a guy like Gregory Rousseau, Kwity Paye. There's a lot of options in the draft at that high when you're at number 5. Yeah. Jason wants Kwity Paye. Yes, sir. The biggest reason I think that the Chargers, let's say, they're thinking about Uchenna Nwosu, or they're thinking about, Jerry Tillery. I would be okay with that, but I think you are paying Joey Bosa so much money. Do you want to pay him that much money so we can get double and triple teamed on the line all the time? No. That's why you go to free agency. You get Jadeveon Clowney or something. You get Yannick Ngakoue. If you don't go to free agency, you definitely pick up a guy like Gregory Rousseau or Kwity Paye. So you can free Bosa. Doing that frees Bosa, adds another threat to the other side. You don't pay that much money for Bosa if you're just going to watch him get double and triple teamed all the time. Echo says Uchenna has been off and on, just some flashes. Yeah, I think if they really develop him, he could be good. I don't know if he plays defensive end exclusively for the Chargers, so if they just start giving him a bunch of reps there, maybe he gets better. But yeah, he's been good. I would love Yannick Ngakoue, says Echo. Yeah, me too. He'd be cool. I think a lot of guys really want Jadeveon Clowney as well. My point there being is you put another big guy on the defensive line so that your most expensive player on the roster doesn't get double and triple teamed all the time. You got to free him up. Okay? All right, guys, we are at the hour mark here, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. Everybody in the chat, thank you everybody so much for being part of this channel. Your growth and everything has really, really helped me out here. It's been such an awesome experience watching this channel go from like 5,000 or 6,000 subs all the way up to almost 25,000 subs come Christmas time this year. It's awesome. Chargers community, Chargers fans, Madden fans. There's very many of us out there on the web, and I'm really honored to have created a place where so many people can come together and do that same thing. Again, as part of my gratitude to that being the holiday seasons and stuff, I am giving away a signed Derwin James jersey. If you guys want to enter that giveaway, check out the description. It's very easy. Just make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Only subscribers can win the jersey. So if you're not subscribed and I pull you, better luck next time. Just make sure you guys are subscribed and then follow the link in the description. It's going to take you to this website. And all you got to do is like really simple stuff. It's going to ask you to go check out my Twitter, check out YouTube and Instagram. Each one of those is worth an entry. Okay. So hopefully good luck to everybody in the chat. Hopefully this goes to a good home. There's a good man cave out there with like a vacancy on the wall. Like, oh my God, it just needs something. It turns out to be this Derwin James jersey. Additionally, guys, if you guys want to join the crew, I'm going to be doing a lot more. I'm going to do at least one live stream a week where I can answer questions from people in the chat from the crew. My live streams on Sundays when we go over, we're talking about the Chargers game. I think this week we're playing the Atlanta Falcons. I'm going to also give the members only an opportunity to talk in that stream. And usually those streams have like 600-800 people in them. So it should be a lot of fun, man. Again, if you guys want to join my crew, find the little button that looks like this. It says join. It's next to the subscribe button. You can get a head start on that and join and support the channel in that way. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining me. This has been The Director. We'll see you next time. And as always, bolt up and stay frosty. Action. I never leave the first time, right? Also, huge shout out and thank you to everybody that joined the crew today and everybody for the super chats. You guys rock. We'll see you guys next time.